Welcome to Wednesday Night is Overbooked, episode 60. 60. Wow. Thank you for everyone who has been here from the get-go. Take a look at the chat real quick. We had someone right before the show even started hop in here, and that was Miss Charlotte. Said, have a great stream. Thank you very much. And our wrench is right here. Mr. Jacob Ironside, how are you, sir? Make sure that you super kick that like button. Join our tag in your friends when you share the stream, and join our faction when you subscribe. All our information is down below in the description.
I'd say you better subscribe or we'll bash in some skulls, right?
Also, a link down in the description is to that wonderful Joker Voice merch store with exclusive overbooked merchandise. Well done, Ego. Well done. Speaking of the man to my stage, right? He is our clip master. He is historically bad takes. It is the one, the only LeftEyeEgo. Ego, how are you, sir?
Hanging in there, guys. I'm slightly under the weather. Consider this my flu game. I look forward to taking the win with the best top five today.
Wow. And right below him, with the look of, oh, God, I love that look. That is just wonderful. I think Brad's got something to say about that, and that would be...
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
I'm going to call shenanigans on that initial statement there.
It is Duke Devil 95, Bradley Burnett. How are you, sir?
Getting by, just enjoying some nitpick video editing right now. So.
Oh, that's always fun.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
That was really OCD stuff.
And then right below me, it looks like he's in the 2300 arena, formerly the UFC, formerly the ECW arena. It's definitely on the you're definitely not on the hard cam side, because there'd be no one there if you were at an AEW show. It is
Jesus.
hard cover death match. The unbearable.
I messed that one up.
Hardcore
death match.
Well, it says hard cover. So
I know. I'm still recovering from massive blood loss last week, guys. So
massive blood loss. Yes, I heard it. How was your death match? Were there any?
it was. I have pictures of the path from my bedroom, my bed to the toilet bowl, about 20 feet, and it looks like someone's walking behind me with a knife, cutting me.
Just stop it.
And like it was such a small amount. Like, it looked like a lot of blood, but they told me it was really a small amount. Just it was spread really thinly because it was spraying. It's funny. In retrospect, I can laugh.
Just stop it.
The doctor said there was a tiny little nick, like a tiny, like not even. He fixed it with one stitch, right? But it was a pinhole.
Stop it. Just stop it.
A little vein there, and it was spraying. And he said, like, all that for one little like.
All righty. Yes.
And Nia Jax get bled too.
Yes, and we will get into that. But we want to start the show. Some sad news. This is something that was announced over the weekend. For many people, good old JR, kind of the voice of the WWE for 20 years about. I mean, he brought in famously with Jerry the King Lawler, Michael Cole, and simply when it comes to commentary at ringside, he is the GOAT. There's nobody better than Jim Ross, as he was diagnosed last week with colon cancer. Surgery is being scheduled in the next week or Part 2, just absolute.
Yeah.
Any thoughts or memories from good old
Well, JR.
Ego? I know you're the relative noob, but I'm sure you've heard Jim Ross on commentary. Anything that you want to contribute here?
First, get well soon. Colon cancer, depending on where it is no joke. But yeah, you could not beat the absolute panic, insanity, and bedlam in his voice whenever something was going down. Even if you saw, could be the most simplest thing or the craziest thing, you needed him there to say the scale of how bad it was. I mean, it's almost like you could see how people did radio back in the day, even though they couldn't see it because they're so descriptive. Jim Ross fits that mold for me. So, I mean, he was very descriptive in what he did. I mean, just hope that he gets better and is able to go back to announcing.
Brad, thoughts?
When I first started watching WWE, WWF at the time, it was like Mean Gene and Gorilla Monsoon were the people I remembered. When I got back into it, it was Jim Ross. It was the Attitude Era that got back into it. And anytime I think about remembering any of the matches, you hear JR's voice. So, I mean, it's an indelible mark that he has left on the Attitude Era.
Gotcha. And very true. Matt, thoughts?
I remember Jim Ross from way back before even WWE in the NWA and regional days. The guy has been involved in professional wrestling behind the scenes since like the 70s, if I remember correctly, maybe even late 60s.
I mean, he's 73, I think, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I was born in 73. It's around the run of my lifetime, he isn't just a ring announcer. He is a big behind the scenes producer, director. Gets guys proper wrestling training. I mean, the reason he went to WWE, by the way, was because there was a big production shakeup behind the scenes at NWA/WCW, basically a power struggle, and he was pushed out. So, which good for us in no sense because he had his WWE broadcasting career. He also trains abroad. He trained Tony Schiavone, for example, is a famous guy just trained by him. He taught all the multiple wrestling broadcasters who he would mentor, in terms of behind the scenes. So the guy is not just an on-screen personality. He's a behind the scenes legend. And my favorite, some of my favorite things, like when Triple H was killed, right? He goes, "Oh my God, Triple H has died. He's died in the ring. He's gone." Then 2 weeks later, when Triple H recovered from death, he goes, "Triple H has risen from the dead. He's recovered from death."
Okay. All right.
He sold it. Like, because though you had kayfabe story, well, the Triple H was actually murdered by, I think this one, the Big Show put him in a dumpster and dropped a car on him or something like that.
Something. All right. So there's that. And also want to send thoughts and prayers out to the family of Thunder Rosa. Her son is in the hospital. She's not disclosing any real details, but it is serious. So thoughts and prayers go out to her. And then I know we've poked fun at her a few times, and that is Zoe Stark. Nobody wants to see this happen. This happened on Monday night. And in a match for a Money in the Bank qualifier with Rhea Ripley and Kairi Sane.
It's like Joe Namath vibes.
Oh boy!
You know the thing.
I mean, Naismith.
Oh, hang on.
Naismith, you're right.
Yeah.
So they're. I didn't play any sound, but they literally had to stop the match for a brief time. The doctor came in, and the screams, the absolute guttural screams that Zoe was giving out. This is bad. This is bad. I believe this is Kairi Sane's first match back from hand surgery in 6 months. Miscommunication, missed a spot, and this missile drop kick that she springboards, which the last time we saw it in ring gave Dakota Kai a concussion. I wouldn't be if I was Kairi Sane, who's been concussed in the ring before. I might be a little gun shy on taking that bump as well, because what that bump is Zoe is springboarding and jumping this way. You're running toward her to make that impact happen. And we were taught, who was it? God, but us did open Dave LaGreca and Dave LaGreca and Bubba Ray were talking about it, and Bubba was like, "This is just a miss spot," and your body acted on instinct where you're trying to land, and this is the same knee that she wears her knee brace on, and she had that triple threat knee injury: the ACL, the MCL, and the torn meniscus. Ego, thoughts, being the medical guy here.
Man, I'm pretty sure once you get your first concussion, it's more than likely you're probably going to have another one to go with that. I understand to me about botched spots. I mean, the way the knee went in, I'm thinking probably ACL, maybe MCL. I mean, I'm not sure if it's like the triple death, which is ACL, MCL, PCL in there, but I mean, it looks like it's pretty bad. I mean, if you need to buckle like that, I mean, it's gotta be bad. And if you're saying she already had a brace on it, it could have already been strained. And once you got a strain, you're more likely to either have a restrain or you're gonna actually wind up tearing it. So I mean, it's probably gonna be another maybe 10 to 12 months of rehab is my guess off the rip, and that's assuming that there aren't any complications with the actual surgery. So I mean, they have a high success rate, but I mean, every once in a while you can get an infection and there can be complications. So I mean, I hope it's a speedy recovery, but I mean, those things usually take like 10 to 12 months before you're actually able to go on that. If it is a tear.
Brad, thoughts?
That was horrific to see. But I noticed an hour ago she posted on Twitter. While the love and support means more to me than you'll ever know, what hurts more than my knee is knowing I won't be able to perform for all of you for a while. I love what I do, and I'm blessed to do this. As the saying goes, the comeback is greater than the setback. Love you guys. Hashtag Stark Marks. So, obviously we make fun of wrestlers, okay? But no one wants to see a person get injured doing what they love in the ring. Right. It's their livelihood. And this could seriously affect her professional career. I mean, especially if it ends up being the exact same thing she had before. There's only so much those ligaments can take. So
right, and we have to remember that these professionals put their body on the line every time they step into a ring. They risk injury to entertain us. They are warriors. It's
not fake. It's scripted, but they are actual athletes.
Yeah, Matt. Quick thoughts.
I mean, we see the injuries, like remember Sid Vicious with the one-legged jump, and like that happened out of nowhere. Or Vince, remember Vince ran in and blew up both his quads or whatever.
Triple H quads.
Yeah, Triple H's quads. The shoulders.
And it just happened. And for the amount of moves these guys do that never have these serious injuries, to me. I mean, I could, at the height of my physical health, I could do like real wrestling, a freestyle where you suplex guys, and they hurt, But man, I hope she gets well, and hopefully we'll see her, another year or so she'll recover and get back.
All righty. And before we move on to our next topic, I want to let you know we have a goal. We missed it by 1 last week. If we got to 11 likes, we would start the show in Lucha Masks. We're going to run that back now. 11 likes, starting the show next week. Lucha Mask, I just got informed that we're at 4 so far. So we're moving. We're getting there. So make sure if you have not liked, like the show, bring your friends over, watch the show, like, and get them to like it as well. So I came across a couple little things that we want to talk about, which just some of them just tickle me because I am that type of guy. This is hilarious. The last couple weeks, we've mentioned a certain AEW talent who's been running his mouth, shall we say, and that is Will Ospreay. AEW is the better wrestling company. They're better in every field of wrestling. But yet saying everyone there is great. They're all professionals, but on our worst day, we would smoke all of them. Well, according to Ringside News, Will Ospreay said he'd be a Paul Heyman guy if the opportunity was right.
There's nothing. I mean, that's known. Heyman real life manages people who aren't in WWE.
I understand that, but I'm just saying that this. I just find this. I find this ironic. I mean, you've been on like a 3-week PR ripping of WWE, and now this comes out.
Well, he's not saying he'd go to WWE.
Well, Paul's not going. Paul is in a very good place.
Paul, in real life, even to today, manages non-WWE wrestlers in his real life capacity. Like not his like obviously in ring, but in his like business management capacity. He has he's an agency basically that manages like dozens of people.
Gotcha.
He's like a pro football agent in real life, but for wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. Now, talking about the WWE, as we will be discussing, they've got a bit of a takeover of Tampa this weekend.
A little bit.
Well, the WWE kind of thought that they could go from Smackdown, Saturday night's main event, Battleground, Raw, in the same arena, that they would just be able to do a taping of NXT in the Yingling Center as well. Go Friday to Tuesday. Nope, didn't happen because they could barely move. They barely moved. They moved less than 2,000 tickets for this show. So, Battleground itself gets around 6,000. That's a good sized crowd for an NXT crowd. Because as I've said numerous times, most WWE watchers don't watch NXT. This is so, and I could just assume with the prices that the WWE charges. Now, is this gonna change their business model anytime soon? No, it's not. So, thoughts on the WWE kind of having to tuck tail for a arena and getting the boot, Matt.
I remember reading something about not only that, but hurricane season starts in June, and there's some really bad weather forecast down there over the next month. From the long-term forecast. So I was watching some people who work in Florida say that stuff. So I don't know if that's true that is, but I wouldn't be surprised if people are already hunkering down, stocking up on supplies and canceling some like plans to go to shows or outdoor shows or whatever.
Well, I might agree with that, but they've sold out till Monday.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. I just see Tampa, and I know. So I was reading something else about something else going on down there that was canceled in like late May, early June because of projected weather. So,
Brad, you're from you live in the Florida area in the state. Your thoughts?
Yeah, like Tampa's that way. 20 minutes.
Okay.
We're not hunkering down. We don't give a shit till around August. This is early hurricane season. We're not scared yet. But what's interesting to me more than anything is that this is at the Yuengling Center, not Amalie Arena. Amalie Arena is twice the attendance of Yuengling. And anytime they have Raw down here, it's usually at Amalie. So I went and checked the Amalie calendar. There's nothing happening at Amalie. So I'm wondering, why are they there? I mean, I could see more likely they do a Saturday night's main event where that's like a 20,000 seat capacity and have a much bigger arena, which they feel, they've used that before, as opposed to the Yuengling Center, which is a 10,000 capacity. I could see it being used for smaller NXT events, but for Saturday night's main event, for a SmackDown, I mean, they've constantly done it at Amalie. So I don't understand what's going on with the business behind it.
Maybe a package deal.
Maybe they have a special deal with Yuengling. But certainly there's nothing happening in Amalie this weekend as far as I can tell.
Gotcha.
But I respectfully disagree with Matt. It's not going to be a weather thing right now. I mean, we still got baseball games going on, and we don't worry about stuff until it starts. We actually see something on the radar. So there's.
Well, I don't know if you read this or not, Brad, but so the southern 2/3 of Florida has seen such an increase in population from like northern states that the entirety of southern Florida has now shifted Republican, including Miami-Dade.
We already did that.
All counties. I mean, like Miami-Dade was still Democrat until I think the last election, but
yeah, it's actually true.
You got a whole bunch of non-Floridians who how people
I'm a non-Floridian.
Yeah, but you've been there a while. I'm saying
30 years.
Brand new people, like who like the same way you guys tremble at the thought of one dot of snow on the ground. We would tremble at the thought of the hurricane coming in. It's like,
I get it. And as a former New Englander, I've laughed at people who like it's a snowflake. We have had that tectonic red shift, and my congresswoman is one of the hottest congresswomen currently. So
okay.
Oh, you got
so as we went off the rails to a topic not involved in anything that we're talking about.
But my point about the arena, I think, is legit.
Okay. Ego, thoughts?
I mean, I guess I'm going with what Matt and Brad are saying. They've probably got more information than I do. I don't know if I'm saying they're trying to do a lot in a short window of time. I'm not sure if they've done this before, but I mean, at least you're figuring this out and having to cancel it in May as opposed to like closer to SummerSlam or whatchamacallit, or any of the other Grand Slams of the PLEs. Later months. Do it now before Labor Day instead of before Memorial Day, instead of having to wait until the big holidays come up and have to cancel it then.
Gotcha. Okay, another quick little news story that prompts something we have not heard on the show in some time.
Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
Some time is 7 days.
Sometime.
Why don't you just kick off the show with that?
Because I wanted.
You get it.
Because I wanted to show compassion for other humans. Okay, jeez.
Like Dwayne.
No,
like
not
Dwayne.
Not like Dwayne. Not like Dwayne. Not like.
Hey,
Dwayne.
Rock, go fuck yourself.
Apparently, with the Scorsese film, The Rock will star in Breakthrough for A24 and 7 Bucks Production. It's a psychological thriller where he plays a charismatic, motivational guru. And it says, guy is never coming back to the WWE. We can only hope. Ego, you look like you're chomping it at the bit. You got something to say here.
I'm just saying what people were saying in the comments. They're like, Buddy got bullied into making based on true event movies. I don't know how it's gonna work. I mean, they're already making, was it GOAT? Like GOAT's gonna be coming out, and that's Jordan Peele's version of the same thing, but with a football player. We've seen this. Basically, The Rock's going to be playing himself, but I mean, it's not really going to be all that believable unless you let me know who this big dummy is that's going to be talking to a motivational guru that's 6'2", 250 and telling him, yes, you can lift that boulder, because it's not going to be believable to me. I need to know who the sad sack is trying to play this person that looks up to The Rock.
You said sad. You said sad sack.
Sad sack, yes.
That is so cute.
Well, he's gonna have ball sack eyes too. That's what I meant as well.
Nice. All right. Before we move on, Brad or Matt, any thoughts on this at all?
Isn't this a second A24 production he's doing? Isn't
yes, it
the
is.
other one? So this is weird.
Machine?
Yeah, the one about the MMA fighter. I forget the guy's name. So this is weird.
Frank Kerr, I think his name is.
Something like that. Yeah. Mark Kerr or something. I don't remember.
Mark Kerr. There you go.
Yeah. Is he now trying to take over A24? He failed taking over DC Studios. It looks like he hasn't quite taken over WWE yet. So is he trying to take over A24? And also,
I think this is all that's left.
Also, dude, stick to your lane. Okay, you and Kevin Hart do weird, funny buddy comedy shit. That's fine. That I enjoy Central Intelligence. I enjoy the popcorn nature of Jumanji, but do not try to like actually become a movie star. John Cena has recognized his lane. He's a jokey actor. He recognized it. The most serious role he is now is heel Cena, which is probably his best acting ever.
Brad, once again, as you do every week. Matt, thoughts?
Nothing really to say. He's, what he is.
Okay, good. You know what? Well done. Okay, so
we need to start keeping a mic drop counter.
I know, right? Ego, you want to be on that?
Mic drop counter, I can do that.
Starting next week.
Yeah, you don't have that many, so it's okay.
-1 for you next week.
Oh, that was awesome. Oh, poor Ego.
Oh, you poor baby.
And you can play that little clip over and over again because it has the beautiful Kaylee Kuko in it.
Okay, so last week on SmackDown, we started doing some Money in the Bank qualifying matches. We had 2, and the first one to qualify was the lovely Alexa Bliss. Bravo. Is Alexa Bliss going to win? No. Not going to win. On the men's side, Solo Sikoa qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match. We have two qualifying matches on SmackDown this week. For the men's side, it is Aleister Black, LA Knight, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
That's not going to be Shinsuke.
Well, here's the thing, though, with that. You need people in the match who can actually do those type of matches.
It's not going to be Shinsuke.
Oh, I can't see LA Knight being very good in like a hardcore
Aleister Black.
He's
triple ladder match.
He's been in the last 2.
And when I say I can't see, I mean he sucks.
Well, I can.
If you don't like The Rock, you should hate LA Knight in the ring.
I never said I was an LA Knight fan. I'm saying he can serve a role as the traffic cop, which I wouldn't trust. But
LA Knight should know his role, which is to be not on screen.
I could see. Well, unfortunately, the fans love him. So the
fans love The Rock too. I mean,
and Jey Uso.
Some fans do. Okay, so I think Aleister Black may go over in this. That's who I would like to see. On the women's side, we have qualifying match. The Women's United States Champion, Zelina Vega versus Charlotte Flair versus the beautiful Madness, Julia. Ego thought?
Julia. No brainer.
Matt?
Has to be Julia. Has to be.
She pins Vega.
Okay, now, interesting you said that, because in a video that I did today, when I said who could be the possible challengers for the current champions, and I had already ordered this, and then I'm listening to Monster and JD from New York talk about it. Monster said my exact scenario, that in this match, Julia pins Zelina because Julia's not gonna win, but it now sets up a women's U.S. title match, which, by the way, SmackDown has booked things. Making a lateral move is nothing new. You went from Chelsea to Zelina. Why not give it to your new NXT call up, set a mark right away, that if you get called up from NXT, boom, you're going to be pushed. So I think Julia is the absolute right choice, and I think it also plays in with the storyline that they, as Matt says, make everything a work. Charlotte is now at the back of the line. Keep her back there.
Yeah.
Break her down. As Alexa's been chirping at her, eventually Charlotte is going to have to reach out and say, I need help. So
Charlotte should be
agreed.
Wrestling mid-carders and going over as a heel hard, hurting them, making fun of the audience. Like, just build up our heel heat, like, for the next few months horribly. Julia's
going to be a heel, though, right? Based on what I've seen so far. Okay.
Yeah, she has her braids. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right.
So braids means heel, which I was watching some of her matches from Stardom, and I know I was a little hard on Jordynne Grace. Judging by the matches from Stardom, Julia getting dropped on her head, she kind of likes that. I'm just saying, that girl is tough. She is a tough one. Now, we also had two matches, the final matches announced, and we have some comments here. What do we got? Kaylee Chow, roll tide, sir. How are you, sir? Long time. How are you doing? Glad you are here, sir. Glad you are here. So we're going to go, as this weekend on Saturday is Saturday night's main event. I know we are all excited about Saturday night's main event, based on the last two have been just riveting television. The way I've kind of looked at these, our first one, I was genuinely excited. I like the aesthetic. I like Jesse the Body there. I like the callbacks to the ring ropes, the narrow walkway, the music, the tuxes, the blue shirts on the referees, and then the bell rings. And these are just very straightforward, just like commercial matches. This is more of a exhibition than an actual, I guess, story-driven show. I don't know about you guys. That's the impression I get from Saturday night's main event.
We have two potential storylines on this one. The others are just kind of
right. So apparently, the WWE still wants to keep this feud going. Dear God, we are now entering.
Everyone loves it, dude.
The Real Live length of this feud here. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, but now it's going to be in a steel cage match because a hardcore street fight wasn't enough to end the feud.
Oh, I thought it was a Las Vegas street fight.
The Sin City street fight.
Sin City street fight, which did not make use of.
Had no references.
Oh my God! Why don't they have an Ybor City street fight?
I have no idea what that means.
Ybor, it's an area in Tampa.
Okay.
It's kind of like New Orleans.
Oh,
it'd be great.
Well, no, they got to have a Florida Hurricane match next.
A Florida Hurricane, and commentated by Shane
Helms. You have Kurt Angle and Stone Cold spraying with giant hoses while they wrestle.
Stop it. Just stop it.
Hurricane Helms commentating as Special Rick as referee.
Yeah.
Okay. Ego, who wins this?
Drew and Damian Priest. Who wins?
Yes.
Good God, I gotta choose a winner. I mean, I guess Drew McIntyre. I'm probably gonna take a nap on this one. I don't care. I don't even know who's winning this feud.
Bathroom break.
I can't do it, man. I go Drew McIntyre. Just Jesus, please end the feud. Whatever you have to do to end the feud. I don't care who wins. End the feud. Move along, guys. Please. I don't care.
Brad, thoughts?
I actually read something that Damian Priest is actually working injured.
Possibly.
So I don't care. I can pick a loser, and that's going to be the audience.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean,
you're not wrong.
It's just who cares? No one is loving this. I don't know.
All right.
Give them new storylines, guys. Go workshop something.
Matt, who wins this?
So this is an example of AEW style wrestling for wrestling's sake and not for any storyline sake booking. And I mean, don't get me wrong.
You're not wrong.
They're putting on decent matches. This is
correct.
But this is a mid card match. It should not be on Saturday night's main event. It should be in the middle of Raw SmackDown. And I guess McIntyre's. I would have McIntyre win. Maybe give him some energy to go work his way back up to the top end of the card again.
Okay. But here's the thing about SmackDown right now. Your top of the card is occupied by a part-timer who we'll talk about right now in a non-title match.
Oh, it's non-title? Ew.
Yep.
All right.
R-Truth versus John Cena will be in a non-title match. This is from the aftermath of Backlash during the press conference, where Cena took R-Truth and gave him an attitude adjustment through a table. If anyone thinks R-Truth is going to win this match,
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Sorry about that.
Perfect timing.
yes.
Guess who that was? Our friend Roman.
Oh, Roman. Jesus, Roman. So
he's watching a movie.
Okay. So this is just my thought on this, and then I'll open it up. This match should be quick, and it's to get more heel heat. And I say this saying that the Pat McAfee Gunther match should have been quick, but it was a lot longer than I expected it. So, Matt, who wins this match and why?
In shocker fashion, this is the beginning of R-Truth's push where he's going to dominate the title for 7 years. 7 years, and he's going to go over.
Stop it. Just stop it.
I
You know what?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Cena's going to win this. We all know that. And it's going to be a good heel heat generator because he's betraying his friend R-Truth, blah, blah, blah. Right. I think it'll be about a 12-minute match, 12 to 15, somewhere in there.
Ooh,
with Cena maybe at the end doing a few table and chair shots to go over his heel more. Maybe someone will run out and save R-Truth and be Cena's next match or something.
Brad?
This sounds like a clickbait question, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
I am.
Well, clearly we know what's happening, and I'm in line with Matt. I think it's gonna be a lot longer match than you think. And when you said John Cena, I want Santino Marella to show up.
I do too.
I mean, because look, this is nothing more than a cinematic match. It's just a storyline match. There's going to be no wrestling involved. I mean, seriously, whenever Cena is involved at this point, it's not really wrestling anyway. So this is just going to be him, destroying the dreams of a child who has loved him since he was a child. R-Truth is going to be beaten by his childhood hero.
Yes.
And it not only is, he's a dream breaker. Break a wish. Now he's breaking a dream.
Break a wish.
All right.
Break a truth.
Thoughts on this?
Man, I do think it's probably going to go a lot longer than anticipated. It's going to be maximum destruction, which is going to be good for Cena's heel run. But yeah, you're right. Santino coming to the ring for John Cena and accidentally hitting R-Truth by accident would be hilarious. I couldn't take it seriously, but I would die laughing. That would be hilarious.
If that shows up,
to come after that.
I'm gonna call that my best call of the year. If that happens,
that'd be hilarious.
Now, what might be the main event? Ego, don't get excited here, because it's not the most important match on the card. We have the Yeet Man, the human highlighter, the highlighter reel, Jey Uso.
Seriously, no one cares.
Versus media star Logan Paul. Now, the ending segment of Raw, the camera work on that was great with Braun and Seth, Punk, Sammy. They go out into the crowd, cameras on Jey, and then from an out of nowhere angle, bang, Logan Paul knocks Jey out. So if we're doing go home math, this really, thank you, Fractured. Thank you, Fractured. And also Logan Paul loses. I hope that.
Me too, Keely. Me too.
So, based on go-home math, Logan Paul is not going to win this match. But I want to hear everyone's thoughts. Anyway, starting with Brad.
Well, we know what's going to happen, but here's what I would like to happen. Logan Paul wins. Now, legitimately, Logan Paul has actually put on some entertaining matches. The dude actually can be skillful in the ring. He can put on a high-flying show and make it look good. Now, Jey Uso, when he's working in a tag, I think he's better. So I don't predict this to be that great of a match. But the best thing for this to be, in my opinion, would be for Yeet Mania to end, Logan Paul to take the belt, and Gunther returns the next week and takes the belt back, and finally we have a badass
Monday?
Champion.
You mean Monday, you mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Because,
didn't he say he challenged on Monday?
Because the winner of this match gets Gunther on the Monday.
Right. Now, and we know that probably Yeet Mania is going to win, and if he puts out Gunther again with another freaking sleeper hold, submission hold, this is destroying Gunther's character, and I just don't see him being the.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
I can't take Yeet Mania seriously. Even Kofi Mania was a little more serious to me than Yeet Mania. It's a tag. It's a tagline. What? I got tired of that too.
Matt, your thoughts?
The what chants are 1,000 times better than the
true.
At least
spicy.
At least the what chants are asking a real question, like, well, what the fuck are we watching?
What did you eat?
Yeah. Lame event Jey Uso is lame, and I get he's over, so you have to make money with him while he's over. I get that. He's boring in the ring. To me, he's been boring since he was, in the Usos as a tag team. I would put. I mean, we know he's going to win it, but and then I guess they're going to farm Gunther out to him next week, like you guys were saying. You know, further rooting Gunther as a character.
Well, no, well, they're gonna. This is all going toward. This is going toward Gunther chopping down Goldberg.
Which is true, but what I'm getting at is there are like, I don't know, 50 people on the roster. They need to stop having the same guys wrestle the same guys.
I get
week,
it.
You know,
I get it.
Like why isn't instead? I mean, you know, let Lame Event wrestle Otis for a random match on Monday night instead of Gunther. You know, that will look good. Otis can put on a good match. Mid Carter, Lame Event's a top Carter right now. They have a good 15-minute match.
So you want to go face against face.
No.
Again, if you're wrestling for random wrestling purposes, they can have a handshake at the end of it. You know,
put him in a luchador match.
And if that would fit like the character of Otis, where like they have the two guys getting together to show performance in the ring, Lame Event Triumph, they shake hands at the end and raise each other's arms. You have matches like that, you know. But the point is, you have all these mid carders. Use them instead of making us tired of watching the same. I mean, I don't. Let me put it this way: Gunther and Lame Event can have the greatest match in years. I'd be bored by now because I've seen it like 4 times already. You know, it's like.
All right.
I kind of agree with Matt because I seem to remember back in the day they would have the big match with the same guys over and over again, but they'd intersperse with like smaller matches with not as high ranking opponents. You'd have the mid card matches against a champion just to like have a match with the champion. Show, oh, he is a champion. He can take on anybody.
Yeah, I don't like the fact because Otis, I mean, as much of a beloved character as he is, he's undercard. He's not even mid card.
It doesn't have to be Otis. It just shouldn't be
El Grande Americano.
You know, it could be Savio Vega. You know, it could be any number of these guys down there.
20 years. Okay.
Well, that's your opinion. What I'm saying is, it can't. If we're going to watch the same matches with these top card over again, we're going to get tired of watching it, and it's not going to generate the interest.
I hear you. So the only person here who is probably excited about this match, sir, for the next 60 seconds.
Do you want to stand up to do your thing? Oh, he's got to warm. He's got to get hydrated. Get hydrated before
show that mug
you
again,
eat.
sir.
Okay. Yes.
And where did you get that mug, sir?
On JV's beautiful website, guys. The link is in the descriptions. Check it out.
I have to expect there to be a Yeet sticker on the back of it.
First of all, I need Brad's home address so I can send him some mouthwash so he can wash the bitterness out of his mouth, okay? We're not here for that, all right? I'm just letting you know right now. I'm going to send you that and help you get that out, okay? Sounds very bitter. Welcome to the actual main event of Saturday night's main event, guys. We're Jey Uso, the face. Yes, the main event requires the main event. Don't think about it. Just keep listening to me, okay? All we know this has to happen. It's got to go down this way. Jey Uso retains. We don't really care about Gunther. That story's dead and gone. He tapped out, all right? Gunther can go on his way because he'll never be the champion that Jey Uso was. Can't be that way, okay?
Oh, no, wait. I actually have a point of order for Ego.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wait. I actually have a legitimate question for you, dude.
Go on, sir.
And again, I get you like Jey Uso, that's fine. So you're saying the Gunther storyline is done. Who do you put to challenge Jey Uso that makes his run interesting at this point?
Jey Uso is the main attraction. Whoever's in the ring with him, he makes better. I don't.
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. He doesn't make people.
That is exactly how it works.
No, it doesn't. You need a bad guy. You need a good bad guy to beat him. Who is our heel that goes out there and humiliates Jey Uso every week? The way Gunther
we're not doing humiliations no more, okay? We endure 6 months of humiliations.
Hold on, Brad. Ego.
Yes.
I think I may have the answer to this. And the answer lies in what could also be possibly the main event of Saturday Night's show, as it is the top story on Raw, and that is the alliance of Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman. As of right now, Roman is on vacation doing something. So we have Sami Zayn. I'll get to that.
Who?
So we have the top story. Seth, Braun, Heyman, Roman's on to vacation. Sami Zayn is Jay's friend. CM Punk is CM Punk. He's got a beef with Rollins. He's got a beef with Heyman. And where this is leading, Ego, as I also said in my video this morning, this party you've got going on right now ends in New Jersey the first weekend in August. This is all leading to Seth Rollins defeating Jey Uso. This is where this is starting, this whole seeds to whatever, how we get there. It's going to take some little cooking, some slow cooking, little seasoning, throw in some salt a little bit here, throw in some flavor here. But eventually we're going to get to Seth Rollins and Jey Uso at SummerSlam, where Seth takes the time. I don't know. Now, the purpose of about a week or 2 weeks ago having a Jey Uso Seth match for the title was not really about the time. I don't. It was to bring CM Punk into the story. So that's what that was for.
All I'm saying is Seth Rollins, Jimmy Rollins, Lou Rollins, don't matter.
Kids, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids. Not because they're bad, but because they're fun. I'm just saying. So, who wins this first match between the teams of Seth and Braun, Sami and Punk? Matt.
Seth and Braun.
Okay. Agreed. Brad.
Dangerous Alliance 2.0.
Okay. Ego.
Seth and Braun.
Okay. Reason being, the go home math. The bad guys were tucking their tail, running away. And if you want a feud to continue and have some legs, the heels have to win the first round. Unless you're going to book Jaden Aomi, which you got backwards, and now that story's all shot to hell.
Do we have any idea who the third person's going to be with the Heyman group here?
I don't know. That may depend on some results from Battleground this weekend. They've been leaning a lot more into the breakup finally of A-Town Down Under.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could see. I mean, I wouldn't sleep on Austin
Theory
being that guy. I wouldn't sleep on.
What do you think? I just literally just thought of this while we were talking. What if this sounds crazy? What if Sammy turned?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't see it. There is no reason. I mean, they keep hinting at it. I mean, they keep like the long pause last night when Sammy comes to the ropes and there's the pause and then Punk's music.
We knew. Well, that was him waiting for it. I'm just wondering if there could be more psychological games played with Sammy.
Well,
but here's again based on what I was saying a few weeks ago of where I think the long-term story is. I think the long-term story is Sammy wins the Rumble because it's in South.
Oh, that's right.
And then Sammy challenges Seth at Mania.
Okay, to get his WrestleMania moment? I'm sorry.
I think the Dangerous Alliance 2.0 will be the perfect opportunity to rehab Finn Balor from mid-Carter to older Finn Balor.
I think we got some other plans with Finn.
Yeah,
we're gonna move to Raw now, as we had two. We had two Money in the Bank qualifying matches. One we talked about earlier: Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane, and Zoe Stark. Rhea Ripley got the win, and the IWC marks lost her damn mind, saying, "Oh my God, it was Kairi's return match. Why did she have to take the pin?" And I'm like, "You idiots! That was an improv."
Because Zoe got injured. Jesus.
Zoe was in there to take the pin.
Yeah.
Zoe was supposed to take the pin.
That became a call on the fly match.
Yes, it became a complete audible the rest of the way, because they have spots where it's designed for 3 people to be involved. Now it's down to 2, and I truly don't think Kairi in her return match is going to take a pin.
No, that's what you're totally right. That's why Zoe Stark was in there. And but for her getting injured, she would have taken the pin because that would have kept Kairi safe.
Right. And Rhea was going to move on.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the other match, Becky Lynch, Natty, and Roxanne Perez. 100% the right move was Roxanne Perez. 100%. I mean, she'd been doing double duty with NXT, and I'm like, why is she still doing stuff with NXT when she set the record for the Royal Rumble? She had a good performance in Elimination Chamber. Now she's on Raw, and she's going to Money in the Bank. Outside of who I think is going to, if they do qualify, this person should be the odds-on favorite. But I would not be surprised if Roxanne Perez wins Money in the Bank. It would not shock me.
I agree, depending on who's in the match. Yeah.
Correct. So we also had, like I said, the end of the match was the end of the show, furthering the story. But I really wanted to talk about this segment, as Ego has said that, Finn should have been cut a couple times. Okay, you do realize that Finn gets more segments on TV, right? That
I guess.
I'm just being on TV, on air, multiple times means you're trusted. Means it's TV. Now, the one thing that pissed me off is fucking Tyrese Halliburton got more airtime than Karrion Kross has the entire fucking year.
We gotta promote the DLC for WWE 2K25 because that's who I want to play.
As much as we,
I think Triple A Paul LeftEyeEgo got the best of them to have both of those guys on there because he'd had them on years before, so he's like almost that's his ego.
Now, as I said in our group discussion, and it just got here, this is an interesting little thing. We had a segment where all of a sudden now the Judgment Day has story in it. It's that soap opera. But it works with this group, especially when you have Liv Morgan involved, or this time
it's a telenovela.
Right. So you've got, as Finn is just, we're at 11 likes. 11 likes. We did it, folks, which means we're going to begin next week's show in luchador masks.
I got to find my mask.
My friend El Siciliano,
yes,
Cabron will return next
week.
That
guy. He shall return. So as Finn said, I was just going over what Dom said that we need more numbers. And Dom was like, I think we need to talk to Liv. Okay. Again, Liv interjected herself into the Judgment Day when she became the women's champion. She's chasing Dom. Liv is the leader of the Judgment Day. I don't care what anyone says. It's not Dom. It's not Finn. It's Liv.
Well, because Finn Balor is currently a comedy mid-carder. That's why.
So anyway, as I was saying, so Finn brings in Roxanne. And his reason is solid. Well, Dom, you've got us three watching your back. But who's there to help Liv and Raquel in a pinch if needed? Roxanne's like, yeah, I'm just the new kid here. I'm just trying to find my way. But I brought you all gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Nuggies. Gives Dom some chicken nuggies. He loves him some chicken nuggies. Gives Carlito an apple. Raquel is not happy with this. And we've seen this as Finn's been in backstage segments talking to Roxanne for the last couple weeks. And again, the minute I knew Roxanne was going to win her match was guess who showed up. Everyone here's favorite. I just say that jokingly because I think she's good, and just what I've seen now, we're getting character now infused in this. Lyra Valkyria came in to neutralize Becky Lynch. Say what you will. Say what you will.
It doesn't make any sense, though.
Yes, it did. It made perfect sense. It made perfect sense. Please.
Can I tell you why I personally don't think it makes sense?
Sure.
So I don't understand why the champion is still going after Becky Lynch. I think it should be more Becky Lynch going after the champion.
Okay.
Agreed.
I mean, that's the only reason why. If Becky had won the match, then I would get it more. And I get that she tried to break her arm after, but it just, I don't know. It doesn't work for me. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't work for me.
Okay.
It's part of gimmick.
Okay. So the post-match attack, and then the subsequent promo on Raw, where Lyra was not there to respond. This was the response to saying I'm garbage. Now I think, just a thought here, Becky Lynch we're going to move away from Becky Lynch and move her to something else eventually, maybe going after EO or something. But I do see, because of what we saw with the Judgment Day, and what did I say about what the women's tag titles are for? To bring folks together, to break them apart. Eventually, Liv and Raquel are going to drop those top titles, and a bigger name is going to take the belt off of Lyra, being Liv. Liv will be the new IC champion.
I dig it.
Into a feud with Roxanne Perez.
Okay.
I like it.
Just throwing it out.
I like that. That's better.
Into the ether. Because frankly, and I do understand, and we did see a comment here on this one. Where is it? I don't get the Rhea hype. Call me crazy. I get it that Rhea going after the title, it gets old and it gets repetitive. And as I said last week, frankly, I think Rhea's doing her best in-ring work when she doesn't have a title.
Well, yeah, Rhea's been a victim of 2 significant injuries over the last couple of years, I think now. So she moves along in Australia and gets to where you think she's going to be, and gets injured twice. So, I mean, so it makes you feel. I never got tired of Rhea or Liv. I got tired of Rhea versus Liv.
Gotcha.
You know? So.
Not really. I
God, I hope
No.
maybe tweeners, but not.
Never. Like, done well, Dominic Mysterio is your best heel they have right now.
Dom will get cheers occasionally, like he did that one match.
Well, there were. Remember, modern wrestling crowds aren't kayfabe crowds. They cheer the performance in the ring. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Dom gets cheers as a heel, meaning like when he's healing it up.
I mean, that pop he got in
you know,
Vegas was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So now and again, as I said, the top story. Now I think this is just me because we haven't had this match announced yet, but I think because Jade Cargill said she's going to win her Money in the Bank qualifying match, and oh dear God, I wouldn't. The last thing I want is Jade Cargill in a Money in the Bank match.
That's probably
someone had a question about your hate for Jade Cargill.
Because she can't sell and she can't work and she can't do a pro. Almost, she sucks. That's why.
But otherwise, she's a great wrestler.
No, but the person I think who's going to be in that match with her and will qualify is Naomi. If Naomi makes it to Money in the Bank, that is your odds-on favorite to win.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I think of all of the titles right now that could be cashed in on, Tiffany's is the most in jeopardy of being cashed in on.
Possibly.
Just my thought. But at the top story on WWE Raw is this new budding faction. It brings us to the staple of this show. It is the Wednesday Night Overbooked Top 5. Way this works, folks, we have a category, and we give 5 the responses, and we rank them 1 to 5. Our number 5 pick gets 1 point. Our number 1 pick gets 5 points. So at the end, we have a scientific, definitive winner of this category. And we've done this category before previously, but we did it as strictly WWE. Because we're talking actions here, we are doing the greatest professional wrestling factions, opening it up to all promotions and whatnot.
I'm going to piss off Matt with my first pick. I know I am.
Really? Oh.
But I can't wait to hear Egos.
Is it going to be
spicy?
You mean Jade Cargill, who's a faction unto herself, is not going to be all of our number 1 pick?
We should make bet on Egos.
Okay, speaking of Ego, you're number 5, sir.
Number 5. So I try to go with factions that really kind of set the tone for the culture and for the time frame in which they were. So most, if not almost all of mine are going to be within the WWE universe, except for maybe one. I've got NWO for number 5. Again, I was only allowed to really watch WCW when it was happening because we had cable, but not that kind of cable. So anytime WCW came on, it was time for it to go down. And the fact that when NWO came out, there wasn't they didn't really have that big of a faction leading into this. So the fact that it was Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall doing the forewarning almost a year in advance at, I think, Bash at the Beast saying we are taking over was the first long-term storytelling that I'd been able to witness. So I've got them in my top 5.
So you were not allowed to watch the NWO?
No, I was allowed to watch that one. It's just you kind of had to like, hey, mom, go look over there. Like, Bible Man is on. You got to sneak wrestling.
Hey, White Bear, how are you, sir? All righty. Brad, you're number 5.
I'm going to go with something that was formed back in 2013, back in New Japan Wrestling, which has continued to reverberate today. The Bullet Club, formed by Prince Devitt.
At number 5?
Yeah, I know.
Spicy.
That's why I knew I'm pissing Matt off.
Kind of pissing me off too with that one.
I
Jeez.
know. And this was not an easy one, but don't worry. I have reasons. And honestly, look, I did not know as much about the Bullet Club. I've obviously gone back in history, seeing members come to WWE because that's mainly my exposure. And I can't deny their influence. But just and I know New Japan is huge, but just for primarily the American market, the European market, it is more WWE, WCW back in the day. But you cannot deny the influence they had and what they've grown out from. I mean, literally, AEW came to existence because of what grew off of the Bullet Club, and they should be ashamed of that now.
Matt, you're number 5.
You're not going to upset me because I have the Bullet Club at number 5.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Formed in 2013 when Prince Devitt, that's Finn Balor for you WWE mercs.
5. Wow.
For Ego.
You'll understand when you hear my top 4. So I would thought because the Bullet Club, my numbers 2 through 5 could have all switched around. That's the best way to put it.
We should all have the same number 1. Let's just set that out right now.
Well, no, you all know who my number 1 is. I mentioned it multiple times in the past year. But anyway, so Prince Devitt, betrayed Taguchi. I know Tamatanga. I don't remember the other guy. And then within a few months, the Young Bucks and
Bad Luck Fate. I have fail. Bad Luck.
Gallows and Energy came in, and it was basically a New Japan's NWO. If you want to, you've never watched it, And then it evolved when Balor left the WWE, I think it was, or ROH. AJ Styles took over running Bullet Club.
Correct.
And here's the thing about Bullet Club. It existed in every significant, including WWE. It's had the OC was the WWE Bullet Club.
They did
Too sweet.
And it existed everywhere. It's to the point that there was a legal approach by WWE to license Bullet Club from New Japan because it would make so much money. WWE Merc selling Bullet Club would probably be half the revenue equal of New Japan's total revenue. Because how much it would if they actually had the Bullet Club in WWE. So that's my number 5.
All right. My number 5. Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield. It's the Shield.
Nick Fury is awesome.
He was. But yeah. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dina Ambrose came in and were just an unstoppable force. I mean, they were literally, they called themselves the Hounds of Justice. Whenever they would do the triple power bomb, you had Corey Graves saying they've unleashed the Cerberus, and they were just cool. They were cool. The all black, the tactical gear, the coming in from the crowd, the music, everything just worked until it didn't. Until Plan B happened. Until Matt's favorite words, which are, Matt?
You got me on the spot, man. What
Plan B?
Until your favorite words.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was thinking more different analogy with Seth. There's always a Plan B.
Thank you. So my number 5 is the Shield. All right, Ego, you're number 4.
Number 4. So if you had the NWO on one side, you had Degeneration X on the other. So this is around the time that kind of was able to sneak some more WWE or WWF at the time. And just being able to say, suck it was awesome, even though we had to say it in hushed tones and make sure my mom didn't hear it.
Especially in your house, I bet, huh?
Oh, bro. Oh, yeah. That's true, But yeah, the way they had it set up, everyone was, these people that didn't really care, they just did whatever they wanted to. If the NWO was your dad who tucked in his t-shirt into his jeans and wears bandana Tupac style, Degeneration X was your cool uncle that you actually wanted to emulate. So I've got them at number 4.
One of my favorite DX moments is when the New Age Outlaws came in and they're going to cut their promo, and someone from the authority or the corporation cut their mics, and the crowd did it for them. And I'm reminded of this because it happened about a few years later with Enzo and Cass, where the audience did their promo for them, and I'm like, DX did that first.
It happened this week when they cut off Punk's music and the audience sang the rest of Cult of Personality.
The Sandman. Remember the Sandman ECW? The crowd would sing his entire song.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brad, you're number 4.
I'm going to ask a question of Mr. Ego. Who's Michael Hayes?
Go on, sir.
Who's Michael Hayes?
Michael Hayes.
They have
Only
Ego.
Hayes that I know is what.
Ego. They have a rule named for this group.
This is the only group. This group appeared famously in the opening of the original and best Highlander movie ever.
Yep.
Highlander.
Yep.
Where
Maybe this will help. If
I saw
leave
Highlander
tomorrow, will you still remember me?
I saw Highlander for the first time 4 months ago. I've got nothing. I apologize.
Oh God!
For I must be traveling on now because there's too many places I've got to see.
The fabulous Freebirds. This was a group that traveled the regions, and they were famous for their feud with the Von Erichs. And there were 3 members. Well, wait, were there 4 or 3? There were 3.
Well, there were 3 official, but there were guys who floated in and out.
Right.
Terry Gordy,
Gordy,
Hayes.
P.S. Hayes.
I don't remember the other one.
Hold on, where are my notes? Buddy Roberts.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my notes. So, and they were like flashy, sexy showing up. P.S. You can't. You see Michael Hayes now. You can't believe this guy would walk out and in the like it just like tears off and strips down, standing on top of the ropes. I mean, this was a wrestling faction that lasted what 15 years throughout the different regions, and to continue. That was a faction that brought money. You brought the Freebirds in. Your federation's getting money because that's the way it used to be. Fabulous Freebirds, the Freebird rule.
Well, you better hope they bring in money because they were expensive.
Yeah. Well, they brought in money,
right?
But just so you know, the reason the New Day had tag team champion Ego is because of the Freebird rule.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'll take it.
All right, Matt, you're number 4.
And for the record, the opposing team to the Freebirds in the Highlander movie was Greg Gagne, Tonga Kid, and I don't remember the other dude. One of the Killer Bees.
Mm-hmm. Tonga Kid, I believe, is Sam. That's
Sam Fatu. But no,
that's Jacob's dad. Yeah. That's Jacob's dad in there.
But and the third one was one of the Killer Bees. I don't remember which one.
Right.
My number 4 is harkening back to the days of ECF&W. And it has a storied origin.
Whoa. ECW, you?
Yeah, I know. Well, as legendary salesman who sold millions of dollars in sales, Big Daddy Dudley traveled the country and amassed such a large group of half children and women, and they loved him so much, like a cult leader. They came together and formed the town of Dudleyville, populated by his women and his bastard children. It's the Dudley family. I love this group from the moment I heard the concept of it. Maybe because I was a half breed myself, but Big Dick Dudley, Chubby Dudley, Devon and Bubba Ray, and little Spike Dudley, like you all know. Dances with Dudley, who's the half Native American Dudley. Dudley of all people. Who else? Sign Guy Dudley, who the Dudley signs. Fatty Dudley. No, not Fatty Dudley. Chubby Dudley. I don't. Did I say Big Dick Dudley?
Yes, twice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to remember all. There were about 15 of them, and they would come in.
Yeah, please don't go through the whole.
So you remember how the NWO when it got big, there'd be like a mob of them coming down.
Yeah,
the Dudleys were like that. They'd come in as they were Big Daddy Dudley's army that would try to take over ECW and fail because they were comedy heels. I remember that they were comedy heels, and it led to one of the the best wrestling brawls in pay-per-view history, where the Dudleys came out for the opening match, right? And the match just disappeared into the back. And then every 15 minutes, it would roll back to the ring, and everyone in the room would get sucked into the giant brawl, and more Dudley would run out. They'd come out. Even fake audience members would get thrown into it. And the whole pay-per-view was this giant one-on-one hardcore brawl from beginning to end, started by the Dudley family. I've loved the Dudley family for a long time.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
My number 5, much like Brad's, I'm sorry, my number 4, much like Brad's number 4, mine goes back to yes.
Schmuck Dudley, another one, Schmuck Dudley. I'm remembering all the go.
Seriously, no one cares.
So I'm gonna give you some names. Tully Blanchard, Ole and Anderson, Ric Flair. It's the 4 Horsemen. Oh yeah.
I'm wondering at number 4. Let me just hear number 1.
Wait, you'll understand when I get to.
Okay.
It all makes sense. This is kind of where, if you're going to say where factions kind of all on to off from, this is where most of them start. This is probably one of the most well-known factions, probably one of the most emulated factions. Ole left, and then you had people like Barry Windham join it. You had Brian Pillman, Chris, Wolverine guy from Canada. We won't mention much.
Wolverine.
Yeah. So, I mean, historically, one of the greatest ever. It has influence to this day. The 4 Horsemen. Ego, number 3.
Number 3, I've got with the rise in the X Games, people like Shaun White, Tony Hawk, there's a need for Team Extreme. So I've got the fabulous Lita with the Hardy Boys for Team Extreme. Basically pushing the limits on what was possible in terms of their matches, pretty much setting the standard for the table, ladders, and chairs matches that are both high-flying and looking devastating while also working and remaining mostly safe.
I'll be right back.
All right, man.
Cool. All right. So I was like, for the most part, I've got Team Extreme at number 3 just because it went along with the culture of the extreme games that we were seeing basically from the X Games.
Gotcha. All right, Brad, you're number 3.
I'm going with Ego's number 4, and I'm doing D-Generation X. But there's a caveat. Not Shawn Michaels.
Oh,
how dare you? The blasphemy.
Wow. So it's
I am saying the Triple H D-Generation X.
So you're saying Triple H, China, X-Pac, and the New Age Outlaws. Interesting.
Because in my opinion, that's when they really started to hit more as a faction. The DX that started with Shawn and Trip was just an offshoot of the Clique, and they were just there to be annoying dicks. And
they were actually more of a tag team because China was a valet and Rick
Rude just stood there.
Manager, right.
So when you had, after WrestleMania, when you had Triple H come out and claim control of D-Generation X, he had X-Pac come out. X-Pac, who had just escaped Guantanamo Bay, called WCW. And
not to be confused with Guantanamo Bay.
Right.
Which is everyone
right. This was version 1.
Yes.
This was Bischoff Bay.
Right.
And literally he goes over to X-Pac, he goes, "Kid, say what you want to say." And then he lit up. And then the New Age Outlaws came in. And then you had the assault on Turner Broadcasting. This was a faction that was both funny and wrestled. and changed the game because it had been, you had to change the game at that point because HBK had been DX, right? But then he was gone for many reasons, which he continued to work on. But this to me is the DX as a faction that I always think of as a faction, not HBK and Triple H as a tag team. This is the DX faction.
Okay. Matt, you're number 3.
So my number 3 was formed in, I want to say 84. It was Arn Ole Anderson, Ric Flair, and Tully Blanchard, managed by J.J. Dillon. The Four Horsemen. The Horsemen, to be a Horseman, an actual Horseman group, you have one of the Andersons and Flair, which is, I mentioned that for my next group after this. You had guys, not every guy who was pulled in was successful, like Sting and Luger weren't successful members. On the other hand, you get legendary Barry Windham, Sid Vicious. Then you had Steve Mungo McMichaels, who I believe just passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. A guy who came out of nowhere to become a really good wrestler, both in personality and in the ring. And I remember legendary Horseman matches. Some funny, like I told you about the War Games with Ric Flair. The reason they have the platform in the War Game was it used to be just 2 rings, but Ric Flair got trapped in between the 2 rings in the War Games for like half the match. So, I can remember Horseman over the years just again and again putting on great tag matches, great heel faction matches. The Horseman. What else can I say?
Okay. My number 3. Changed the WWE from pay-per-view cycle storytelling to long-term storytelling, and has been the greatest story the WWE has ever told. And it began with 2 words: acknowledge me. The Bloodline, one of the greatest factions ever. Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Jay Uso, Sami Zayn, Solo then entered in, and with Paul Heyman, when you introduce the character of the tribal chief, the landscape changed in the WWE. That's all I got to say on that. Ego, you're number 2, sir.
All right, number 2 for me is the Bloodline. I hadn't seen technically anyone to me as dominant as the NWO back in the day than when I saw the Bloodline. That's just from what I remember from watching it, being out for years, and then coming back. So, when you had the Usos being tag champions, you had Roman was the Universal Champion. It was just like every time they showed up, things were going to go down, and they were going to have a significant push. Like in my mind, there was no question that they were going to lose any of their matches because they were seen that dominant. So I've got the Bloodline at number 2.
Okay, Brad.
At number 2, I have the group that changed WCW and almost destroyed WWF, the NWO. And I don't mean the giant ass fraternity that everyone tried to join and got into with all the different colors and everything. I just mean straight out Hogan, Nash, and Hall. That changed the game. Nash and Hall showed up. You don't know why we're here, but we're here. And then Hogan joins. And until this year.
Right? 96, right? Back to the beach.
Yeah, I think it was 96. Until this year, that was the most surprising heel turn in wrestling history, in my opinion. No one thought ever Hulk Hogan would go heel. And he did.
History, yep.
Now, do you know why Hogan used to wear red and yellow?
Does it go back to when he was in a band down here?
He wanted to look like a hot dog because he was so tan.
You're close. Jimmy Hart.
Oh, shit, really?
Jimmy Hart said red and yellow McDonald's. Everyone loves the McDonald's.
Well, yeah, it was marketing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay. He and Jimmy Hart were friends for years.
Jimmy Hart in real is like Paul Heyman. In real life, he's a sports agent for wrestlers.
Right.
Yeah.
Paul Hogan was his real life manager for his entire career.
I actually remember I was hanging out back in my early law school time with a guy who was in a band who played in one of Hulk Hogan's early bands here down in Florida.
Wow.
I saw a picture with him and Hogan, like skinny Hogan. It's weird.
Wow.
But this changed the game. And literally when this happened, this almost destroyed WWF. And I know it became comical and ridiculous at the end because it became inflated. And then you had NWO Wolfpack, you had Red, you had
Vince Russo.
He's a genius.
Time Warner.
He's the reason that WWE was great in the Attitude Era, if you ask him.
True.
Finger poke of death. But otherwise, that faction, Hogan, Hall, and Nash, changed the landscape, and will always be remembered for that.
Okay, Matt, you're number 2.
My number 2 is well, this group might as well have been the reincarnation of the Four Horsemen in WWE. It's Evolution.
Okay,
It's a good one.
And which was Triple H, Ric Flair was the manager, Batista, Randy Orton, one or two other guys floated in or out to the reunion and all that. And they had the greatest wrestling theme song of all time. Yeah, which is Evolution by Motorhead. So that's my number 2. To me, they were if they just had Anderson, I would just call them the Horsemen and would have had another spot open to put the NWO in. So.
And then the women stole it.
Yeah.
My number 2. My number 2 is actually Brad and Matt's number 5. The Club. This was a response to the NWO, and again, we don't have half of the wrestling rosters that we have now without this action. Yeah. I mean, AJ Styles, Balor, Cody, Hangman Page, Omega, the Bucks. I mean, the Gorillas of Destiny. These are just some of the names, and these guys in Japan, relatively unknown, were selling merch in mainline Hot Topic.
Yeah.
This is how influential these guys. I mean, name me another international wrestling group that was selling the merchandise in mainstream United States stores.
You almost can't.
Wrestling, no. Otherwise, I'd say the Beatles.
Right. Yeah. These guys took the world by
they were
storm.
like the Beatles.
Yeah, and that's why they're number 2, and why my number 1 is who it is. And speaking of number 1s, Mr. LeftEyeEgo, you're number 1, sir.
All right, number 1 for me is. I wish that's honorable mention, especially when Owen Hart was there. Joking. You know what? For me, based on what you guys have told me about how important this was, I've got the Shield as number 1. I mean, very rare do I see 3 guys that weren't necessarily superstars, at least to me, when I saw them, to have these storied careers, and for there always to be a callback to "Let Me Be Your Shield" and the chair shots. So, I mean, I've got them at number 1 because it's 3 guys that are top billing in WWE, and this is kind of where it started.
Okay. Brad, you're number 1.
I'm going with the Four Horsemen, mainly because this is the first faction I learned about when I started watching wrestling, which was when I would go visit my grandfather and grandma in Pittsburgh. My granddad loved pro wrestling. He was a World War II vet, grew up in Pittsburgh. And guess who his favorite wrestler was?
Ric Flair.
No. My Italian grandfather who grew up in Pittsburgh. Bruno. So we'd always watch Bruno matches. And, there's sometimes, the Four Horsemen show up later on. And it's like, let me tell you about these guys. These are bad dudes. So I always associate, and I'm like, this is a fact. These are the bad guys. It's like, this is young me. I'm like, oh my God, they're the freaking Empire. They're coming in and taking over. They're unstoppable. Back then I didn't get it. I didn't get the styling and profiling. I didn't get the limos and all this stuff, but I saw them as a faction and they were the bad guys and they were going after all the guys my granddad liked. So to me, this is more of a personal thing, but honestly, I think anyone could say the Four Horsemen could be one of the best factions out there.
Gotcha. You would not get a lot of argument. All right, Matt, you're number one.
Formed in, I think, late 97 or mid somewhere between late to mid 98. I've talked about this before. Undertaker is my all-time favorite wrestler.
Oh God!
In the era of kayfabe,
this faction sucked.
In the era of kayfabe, this was the Undertaker character taken to the logical extreme, with the Ministry of Darkness, and to me, the highlight of the Attitude Era was.
God bless you,
Let
sir.
him finish.
God bless you.
Let him finish.
Was the despicable things this group did. They a pure, unadulterated, like it's like drinking the finest wine of heeldom you could get. You know, there was nothing. There were no good guys in the Ministry of Darkness. They never did anything they didn't never did anything that could be construed as good or even okay. They were evil in its purest form. From when they kidnapped Stephanie and took her to the boiler room, from when they were stalking wrestlers and their families in their homes, to when they crucified the big boss man. This is
they hung him.
Well, yeah, they hung him and crucified him. I can go on when they would sacrifice. They had a sacrificial table where they would sacrifice wrestlers to the Undertaker. This is like watching a horror movie unfold live on TV, and I loved it so much. This gave us the Acolyte Protection Agency. People forget what APA stands for. It's Acolyte Protection
That's right.
Agency.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They gave us the Brood, Edge,
Brood.
Christian, and Gangrel. Okay. Right. People in 2010 were asking, why does the Undertaker have druids marching him out to the ring, even though he was a cowboy at that point? Because the druids came out with this group, the Undertaker's druids. This is the group that semi-rehabilitated Mabel as a character.
Oh my God, Mabel!
You remember how horrible he was, and then
he was always horrible.
Well, and then he became Viscera, and the Undertaker. When Taker took him under the ring,
Viscera,
Midian.
No. But what Taker did was, behind the scenes, he taught him how not to hurt people. So he became, for a year or two, an okay wrestler. But the point again is, like if there was any wrestling group that would burn an apartment building full of people, this is the faction. Okay, the same way that in the modern era when Hangman burned down Swerve's mom's house. You know, this is stuff Ministry did every week. Like every week they would torture someone, terrorize people. And today, when Mankind has to save Stephanie McMahon from someone, you know they're evil. And this is the best evil that has ever been in wrestling.
I don't know whether they're to applaud Matt's enthusiasm for this or be frightened, because he's talking about sacrifices and hanging and burning people, and he's getting more and more excited.
No. I'm going to tell you right now. You applaud fandom. You applaud fandom. That's fucking fandom. You applaud that shit.
Okay, my number one.
Nation of Domination.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, I can go on. Remember?
No.
It was the Ministry that sacrificed Farouk to the Dark God.
Just the lore catalog.
This is still my show, folks. I'm just saying. So, my number one is the faction that changed pro wrestling forever. 1996, Bash at the Beach, the Outsiders, and the greatest heel turn of all time, Hulk Hogan. It's the New World Order, the NWO. Like most factions, the longer it hangs around, the worse the story gets. It just grows and grows and grows and grows. And then you had the Wolf Pack, and it was just really odd and bad.
Don't forget
writing.
NWO Japan.
Thanks, Vince. Thanks, Vince Russo. But this group here forced the then WWF to pivot away from Doink the Clown. to pivot away from Vince McMahon's, just comic book bodybuilder type of wrestling. This kicked off what became known as the Attitude Era. This is the group that kicked the WWF's ass for 83 weeks in a row. No question. NWO is the greatest faction of all time. And I believe we have a two-way tie for first.
I got that.
Wow.
I believe we have a clear second.
Yes.
And a two-way tie for third.
Concur.
All right.
So, number 3 is Brad.
I got Bullet Club and Shield.
Correct.
All
Bullet
right.
Club and the Shield at number 3. Number 2 is
I got the Bloodline.
get those ones up, which Brad and I saw a lot of ones go up at Mania at WWE World. That was quite interesting.
That was also something Sabu did.
And number 1, two-way tie is
NWO. And
Yeah. Fair.
the Four Horsemen.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. All righty. Mr. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Sorry, Matt. I pressed the wrong button there. Mr.
Did you think he was to talk about the ministry again? Jesus.
Yes. Mr. Hardcover Deathmatch, the unbearable 73. What do you have coming up this week, sir?
Tomorrow we'll be on Roman's show, me and Joker for sure. I don't know if Eagle's there or not. With talking about a movie from 2010 called Legion, which is an apocalyptic biblical type movie. To keep it simple. Next week we'll be doing when there's overbooked, obviously, right?
Yes.
Do you have a paper? I know we have an AEW pay-per-view coming up in 2 weeks. What do we have?
No, you've got Saturday night's main event this Saturday, NXT Battleground, and double or nothing running on Sunday.
And what's after that for WWE? Is that
you got Money in the Bank June
Sometime in June?
7th, I think.
early June, something like that, early
Yeah.
June? Okay, yeah.
Well,
So-
and then you've also got Worlds Collide earlier that
So obviously next week we'll be talking about
the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, Money in the Bank. Okay. So that's basically what I got going on. I'd like to, again, I keep trying to do more with my channel, but I'll get there eventually. So, yeah.
Right on. Mr. Brad has in his lovely show where he and people watch the holes of worms. Odd.
That
They
sounds
just got
odd.
through their first season. If you are a fan of Star Trek, definitely check that out. His link is in the description. But Ego, can you drop his channel link into the chat, please?
You got it.
Mr. Duke Devil 95, what do you have coming up, sir?
I have a lot of things coming up, but just to give up the update on upcoming PLEs, we have Worlds Collide on June 7th. Also, apparently, we have Money in the Bank on June 7th as well. So that's coming up really quick, followed by Night of Champions and June 28th. So that's what we got on our PLE schedule. As for me, I will be on Static 2020's weekly show, the weekend pregame. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern on his channel. My channel is, of course, Duke Devil 95. We have a weekly show called Wormhole Watch, where we've been watching Deep Space Nine from the beginning. We have finished season 1. We are starting season 2 this weekend, and I have started inviting people on to join us.
Nice.
Also, you can go on my Rumble channel. You can go see us listen to Grok in its all unhinged way, review the shows as well. It is definitely not suitable for work.
Gotcha. And Mr. Left Eye Bad Take, Ego, what do you have coming up, sir?
Well, guys, my latest video on the Sinners movie review has been up since yesterday. Please go check that out. There is an amazing cameo that's quite controversial that I'm sure everyone will love. We're going to, like I said, we're still, me and Shiro are kind of under the weather, so we'll see if Ordinary Gains will happen this Sunday. But if you haven't done so, again, check out my Sinners movie review. Hilarious and awesome.
Yes. As for myself, this Friday, I will be dropping a video, my picks, my predictions for NXT Battleground. I don't cover AEW. The other bigger channels do all that. So you can come to me for NXT coverage. As Matt said, I will also be with Roman of the Empire tomorrow night talking about the film Legion. And, of course, back here with these gents for Wednesday night is Overbooked. But until next week, I want to thank everyone in the chat. You guys were awesome, and you will be rewarded next week at the beginning of the show with lucha masks. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Keep talking, keep smiling, keep having fun. I usually end the show with a word, but there's someone who says it much better than me.
Toodles!
Take care, folks.
And here we go.
Is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Ah!